Banahene Tutorial Collections welcomes you to another Microsoft Excel tutorials. In this particular video, we are going to learn how to find percentage in Microsoft Excel. And this video production is based on a comment from one of my cherished viewer, who is Aristotle. Now, the comment says, "Can you teach how to find percentage in Excel?" And I replied this comment by saying, "Okay, boss, I will produce a video on that." So based on this comment, we are going to have a data set in our worksheet and manipulate this data to find a percentage using Microsoft Excel. So let's dive into Microsoft Excel worksheet and explore this feature. Now, this is my worksheet available in this Microsoft Excel window, and this is a practical text exams partaked by these students available in this organized data. Now, before then, one may ask, what is percentage? Percentage is a rate, number, or amount in each 100. It can also be explained as a number or ratio that can be expressed as a fraction of 100. Based on this description, we are going to use this data set available to have different illustrations to calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. So, as I said earlier, this is a practical test exams that has 3 texts which was organized continuously, and that is we have text 1, text 2, text 3, and according to these 3 texts we had this total marks. Now, based on this total marks, we are going to have individual percentage of this total marks so that we can identify which students had the higher percentage, so that there can be an award or a prize given to that particular student. And I'm going to show you different ways you can calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. So just relax, get some tea, and let's move on in this particular video. Now, in this data set, I have this column available, which is percentage, and we are going to have our percentage displayed below this column, which is column F, and that is going to be under this column header percentage. Now, before we do so, this is the total marks, that is the individual total marks given to this student based on their text they partake. We are going to calculate the grand total for all these marks that we have here. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select this cell, and this is where I'm going to have the grand total. Now, we can use different ways of calculating this or summing up these numbers above this selected cell. So we can use the equal to sum function, then we open the brackets and we can move to the beginning of this column, select and drag it down to select all the cells available. And when you get to this level, you can press the enter key, and now we have the grand total for the total marks. So this is what we want, and let me show you a quick way to get this grand total of this total marks. Since this data is vertically organized, when you select a cell below these marks, that is going to identify the data above this current cell, and that is the power of Microsoft Excel. Therefore, the tip I'm going to show you is to hold the Alt key and the equal to sign. When you do this, this is going to select all the cells above the current cell that contain the formula or the function. Therefore, you can see that this blank cell is also selected, and we are going to ignore that, and we can do that by holding the shift key and the up arrow key. And now we have the real data that we need selected, and we can press the enter key on the keyboard, and we still have this grand total as compared to using the sum function to calculate all these marks. Now that we have this done, I am going to zoom out so that we can have a better view. So now these are our total marks, and this is the grand total. So to get the percentage for all these individual students, I'm going to select this first cell, then I'm going to type the equal to sign, select this first student marks, and I'm going to divide by the total marks. That is to type the / symbol, then you select the grand total. Now when you have this done, we are going to make sure that this is placed in the bracket, and we need to do that initially. So a quick way to add the bracket symbol around these cell references, we can move to the formula bar and click between the equal to sign and the letter E. Then we open the bracket, then we move to the end and also close the bracket. Now that we have this done, we are going to type the asterisk symbol that represents the multiplication sign in Microsoft Excel. So you hold the shift key and the number 8 on the keyboard. Then we have this asterisk symbol. And then we are going to type 100. Then we add the percentage sign to it. Now let's hit the enter key. This gives us this decimal number to the first student. Therefore, if we want to apply this formula to the remaining students, then we are going to select this cell. Then we use this feature known as the fill handle in Excel. Then we double click. Now we have this decimal number for the first student, but when you look at the remaining cells that relate to these individual cells, we have this div divided by 0. This means that we have an error in this particular function. Why this problem? When you double click on this first cell, you can see that this cell is dividing this particular cell, which is our grand total. When you double click on the second cell, you can see that this cell is dividing this empty cell that we have below the grand total. Therefore, this is going to give us an error, and we want to divide all the total marks of the student by the grand total. So this is where another cell reference comes in handy, which is the absolute reference. And I have a video that fully describes cell references in Microsoft Excel. It shows you how to use the relative reference, absolute, miss reference, and I'm going to link this video in the description below. You can check it out. So for us to have this manipulation done easily, we move to our first cell that has the formula situated. Then I'm going to double click. When you do so, we have this two cell references here, and the E2 is the cell reference that consists of the grand total. Therefore, I'm going to click to have the cursor blinking in this cell reference. Then I hold the F4 on the keyboard. Now this is going to make this cell reference an absolute cell reference. Therefore, when you hit the enter key, we still have this decimal number for the first student. Now when we select this and use our fill handle and double click, now you can see that we have these perfect numbers given to all these students. So in Excel, you should know when to use your relative cell reference and also absolute cell reference. Now that we have this done, how can we convert this to percentage? Because we have this currently in decimal values. To do this, while these cells are selected, we move to the home tab, and then in the home ribbon we have this number group, and we have this percentage symbol here. We are going to click on it, and this is going to convert these decimal values into percentage values. Now you can see that we have all this percentage given to these students. So this is the first way to calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. If you have some data, you can have the total of that particular data, then you use the individual marks or the individual scores or the individual data and divide by the total or the grand total of that particular data. So this is the first way to calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. I am going to delete these cells. It is already selected. Now the next way is that once you have your grand total calculated, you can select the cell you want to have the formula situated. In this case, I'm going to show you another tip so that you can have this done in an easy way. When this is selected, you can hold the shift key and the down arrow key to select all the cells that are going to consist of the percentage numbers. Now when this is done, this serves as a range, and this current cell is the active cell, and that is where we are going to have the formula or the function situated. So I'm going to type the equal to sign, select this, type the / symbol, select this, and now I'm going to hold the control key and the enter key, and this is going to calculate all these cells in this data set. And as I said earlier, if we don't use the absolute cell reference, we are going to have an error in this manipulation. Therefore, we move back to this first cell, then we change this to an absolute cell reference by pressing the F4 on the keyboard. And now we can double click, and we have all this percentage given to this individual student. This is already in percentage, but when you are doing this for the first time, you are going to have it in the decimal form. Therefore, you have to move back to the number group and click on this percentage symbol, and now you have this calculated in Microsoft Excel. So this is also the second way you can calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. Let's move to the next operation. I'm going to delete all these cells, and then I'll make sure that this is set to general. And in this case, I'm going to delete the grand total. Now, the next operation I'm going to show you is also a very quick tip and also a trick you can also use to find percentage in Microsoft Excel when you have your data set available. Now, I'm going to select all the total marks by clicking on the first cell, that is the first total mark for the first student. Then I'm going to hold Ctrl plus Shift plus the down arrow key, and this is going to select all the total marks for all these students. Now I am going to hold Ctrl plus Q on the keyboard, and this is going to bring out this quick analysis toolbar, and also have the option to create a percentage out of this total marks. Another way to get this is to click on this icon found below this selected column. So when I click on this also provides me with this mini toolbar, and the next option is to move above these icons and click on totals. And when you do this, get to this section and click on this arrow, and now we have this icon which is percentage total. Have a click on it, and this is also going to calculate the percentage for all these students in this data set. And you can see that this percentage have some decimal numbers attached to it. You can increase or decrease the percentage values, that is the numbers after these points. So what you can do is to select these cells, move to the home tab, and then we can use these two icons. This is the decreased decimal and this is the increased decimal. So if I click on this, you can see that I'm decreasing, and now I have this as single percentage values, and this output is also similar to the first operation, and that is the output that we have here. So this is the third way you can also calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel, and this is being formatted in bold. You can click on this, or you can hold Ctrl plus B on the keyboard. Now let's jump to our next operation. Let's assume that you don't want to get the percentage out of the total marks, but rather you want to add the percentage symbol to these total marks that we have here. This is also a different manipulation or a different way of calculating percentages in Microsoft Excel. So what you can do is to select all these total marks, but before then we are going to use a reference number, and that is 100, because we are going to use 100 to get the decimal, and then we can get our percentage. So what we can do is to type the 100 in a different cell. So I'm going to select this cell. This is going to be my reference cell, and I'm going to type 100. Now that we have this, I'm going to select this and hold Ctrl plus C on the keyboard. Now this value is copied into the clipboard of Microsoft Excel. Now that this is done, I'll move to the total marks, select this first cell, hold down the Ctrl, the Shift key and the down arrow key, and this is going to select all the total marks in this particular column. Now we move to the home tab, and then in the clipboard group we have this paste command. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow below the paste command, and when you do this, you have this option which is paste special, and we are going to click on it, And when you do so, you have this beautiful dialog box. Now another way to get this dialog box, after you have this selected, you can hold the Alt key, the H and the V and S on the keyboard. That is Alt H V S. This also brings out this special dialog box. I am a keyboard fanatic, so I often use my keyboard shortcut to perform most of my operations in Microsoft Excel. Now that we have this paste special dialog box, we have this option that says divide under the operation options. Now when you click on this divide, then you click on OK. Now we have this in decimal numbers. Now that this is selected, we move back to the home tab, and then in the number group we choose percentage, and this is also going to convert these numbers that we already have into a percentage values. So now you can see that percentage has been added to these values that we have in this particular data set. Now if I change any value here, that is going to affect this, and now this has changed from 93 to 95. We have this as 95. If I add 5 to this 30, now this has changed to 100%. So this is working automatically. When there's a change of these values, it's going to affect these cells as well, and that is also going to change according to their related cell references. So this is also another way to calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. Let's move to the last operation that can also equip you or enable you to calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. In this case, I am going to redo this action by using the Ctrl+Z on the keyboard. The last operation is, you still have to select all the marks under the total marks. Then you move to the home tab. In the number group, we have this arrow, which is the dialog box launcher, and when you click, this provides you with this format cells dialog box. Another way to get this window, after you have these cells selected, you can right click, and then we have this option that says format cells. This also provides you with this format cells dialog box. Now as a keyboard fanatic, you can use Ctrl+1 on the keyboard, and this also provides you with this format cells dialog box. Now in this window, what we are going to do is to click on the custom option under the category pin. So I'm going to select the last option, and then we have this pin related to this custom option, and we have general in the type field. I'm going to click and then erase this option. I'm going to type 0, then type the backslash symbol, and I'm going to add the percentage symbol. And when I do this, I can click on OK. And when you come back to your Excel or your data worksheet, you can see that we have these percentages added to these values. So this is also another way you can calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. So these are the process or the procedure you can walk through as an Excel user to calculate percentage in Microsoft Excel. Hope this video was helpful. Please give it a like, share, and also drop your comment in the comment section. And I believe, Aristotle, your comment has been replied positively. Thank you for watching this video, and we shall meet in our next tutorials.